Greetings, and welcome back to Presbyter's Pub. It's been a while. I would say in fellow nerd language, like Gandalf the White said, I return to you now at the turn of the tide. I say that because a lot is going on. There's a lot of tide turning in our world, in the nation, and in the church. And so I think now is the opportune time to resurrect the pub, the public meeting house, the open table, the coming together place of many minds and ideas and thoughts, because we need one another and we need good conversation. And I think conversation is a lost art. It's a lost healing mechanism for people and people groups. And so I think that this Presbyter's Pub season is going to be different than maybe how Presbyter's Pub has been in the past. I'd hope that most of the videos you'll see will be, in fact, conversations with various different people. But I will tell you this, a lot has changed in my life since the last time you probably saw me on a Presbyter's Pub video. I am now a pastor. I'm an ordained minister in the Presbyterian, Evangelical Presbyterian denomination. I'm at a church called St. Luke Joy in Kansas City, Missouri. And I have 2 little daughters, and I am married, and I've just been blessed to meet so many new minds, just well thought out people, ministers, community leaders, that I just think would be a great opportunity to bring those people into dialogue and into conversation. And what a better format than the Presbyter's Pub. So a little bit just of an insight as to who we are and why we exist. Our new mission is actually going to be gospel conversations for the people to the glory of God. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, like I said, I'm a pastor in a Presbyterian church, so that's a little bit of the insight as to presbyters. But for those of you that don't know, presbyters comes from the Greek word presbyteros, which is the word for elder or leader in the church. It is used many different times in the New Testament. In our context, the first time it was used was Acts 14:23, talking about how the church appointed elders, those to oversee, those to have leadership within the church. They were taught in the ways of the apostles, simply as it says in Acts 2, taught how to have fellowship, the apostles' teaching, the sacraments, prayer, how to take care of one another. So the church needed leaders, and that word was presbyters, essentially. It also, in Acts 15, we see a Jerusalem council where many of the different church leaders come together and help kind of decide some of the first big discussions within the church. Presbyters is used there. It's also used in defining the characteristics of what a leader or an elder in the church should be in 1 Timothy 5, in Titus 1:5. James talks about how the elders are those who come and bring the oil to anoint the sick. So presbyters is very much a biblical word. It's a word for leaders. And then you have pub. And pub comes from an abbreviation for just public house, the public meeting place. Now, pubs are something that have been kind of lost, particularly today with pandemic world going on. But a pub, particularly in Europe, is really a meeting place. It's a place where people come together to talk about sports, life, shoot the breeze, but also theology, current affairs. One of the inspirations for the show comes from the Inklings, which were several professors and writers in Oxford during the 1930s and 40s and 50s even. People you might know as C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, Charles Williams, Hugo Dyson, and others who got together and essentially read their books that they were working on together, talked about theology, talked about literature, and how to make one another better, how to add to one another's understanding of the world. So that's really the understanding here, is that through conversation we become better. We learn many things, and we can bring many different voices to the table. And so I hope that this will be good for the church, but I don't want our atheist friends or agnostics or anyone to run away, because your voice is one in here. Part of the model of where we get this idea for Presbyter's Pub comes straight from Scripture, where we see Christians, like the Apostle Paul, engaging with the world that did not know Jesus, engaging with the world that did not know the church. We see in Acts 17, verse 16, it says, Paul, he reasoned in not only the synagogues to the Jews, but also to the God-fearing Greeks, the philosophers, as well in the marketplace, day by day, with those who happen to be there. So the pub, there you have it again, the marketplace. Paul, being a presbyter, he engaged in the pub, the marketplace, the public meeting house. You see in Luke 14, Jesus talks about the wedding feast, that would essentially be what the gospel was going to do to all people and reclaiming the nations, and not just for the Jews, but for the Gentiles. Kind of an idea of what the church was to look like, or what heaven was going to look like. It says the master told his servants, go out to the roads and the country, the highways and the byways, and in all the lanes, and compel the people to come in, so that my house, the house of the Lord, may be full. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 gives us an idea of how we should engage, which will be part of the rules of how we're going to talk on this show going forward with our guests and with others. And it goes like this: but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to anyone who asks for you the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and with respect. This is actually the verse where we get the word apologetics, apologia here, giving an answer, giving a reason, a response to when those ask you, now why do you believe that? Now why do we do that? Why does the church act this way? How are we going to do things better? Well, 1 Peter reminds us that we should be prepared to do that, and do it in conversation, as we saw Paul doing and the church doing it, but always with gentleness and respect. So this season is going to be packed full of many wonderful guests. We have many people in the church, within my denomination, many different people in community leaders and friends, to really just engage these conversations. And hopefully these will be very good educational videos for those of you that are watching. I'll do a few videos just on my own to just respond to certain things. But I hope that everything that happens here will be brought back through that lens of the public space, to where you feel like you very much have a voice in this community. And we're going to continue to hopefully make more venues for you to engage in that, right? So right now we have our Facebook page. We're going to be making a website, but more places where we can even post videos of yourself responding to things, because that's something that's been lost. You can't really get online, is being able to see my face and my personality and sarcasm and stuff like that. It's very hard to write. That's one of the beauties of video that we have to continue to work with. But I want to hear from you as to what you want to hear about, what you want to hear, some topics that need to be talked, and who are maybe some guests that I can invite on this show. But go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share this video, and we'll see you here in Presbyter's Pub Season 1. And the tagline will be, see you in the pub. Bye-bye.